First off, I want to say thank you so much to Twitch for finally accepting the partnership. It has been such a pleasure to provide all this content and receive this reaffirmation that I'm what I'm bringing out and what I'm producing is actually entertaining and people like it, and it's just good to hear that my hard work is paying off. But that's not why we're here today. So what we're gonna start off with today is a little bit of a disc guide. All right, so yeah, I don't know. You might not like the mug. I do. I love it. Original. Okay. So first row here, I like to start with talents. So first row here, we have castigation, which basically makes penance fire an extra bolt. Um, it it's good for. I mean, it's good, but in my opinion, it doesn't come close to Twist of Fate. Which is after you heal a target below 35%, you gain 20% increased healing and damage for 10 seconds. And that is like a non-stop repeatable buff, and especially as a disc where you're kind of balancing this whole idea of keeping your team up through damage. So you get Atonement on every target, which also applies through your power word shield. So that, like, that's what I like to start out with. Like, first, before the gates open, hit that Fortitude button. Give your party that buff, that power word Fortitude buff. Do not forget that. It's new, I know, but it's important you remember it. And then, I like to start with shielding everyone on my team, so that gets the Atonement buff up. You can play Schism or Schism, however you want to say it. But I don't. It's good if you want to do burst windows, which is definitely an option. Like, you can kind of Schism, Dark Archangel, Trinity is kind of like a really good combo for a lot of if you want offensive pressure, but like at the same time that pressure is healing your team loads. So Body and Soul, Angelic Feather, Masochism. I really like Body and Soul. I think it negates Angelic Feather almost because it's a 20-second recharge versus a 0-second recharge. And if you apply, and this can occur every 6 seconds, so think about it. One global is to put the powered shield on yourself, second global on your teammate, third global on your other teammate, and then that's sprint shields for everyone. That's three globals, and then in just 3 more seconds you can body and soul yourself. So I think it's better as far as movement goes. If you're not worried about being attacked, I prefer body and soul. Masochism, if you're going to get attacked or there's the slightest chance the enemy is going to really go for you, Masochism, 10% damage reduction, can't argue with it, right? Okay. Shield Discipline. So we have the same row in Legion, and, you know, I think it's a decent row. Solus, I don't find you have the globals for at all. Just with the global change, it doesn't feel like it. Shield Discipline, you know, 0.5% of your mana when it's completely absorbed. Like sometimes you're spamming shields, so it doesn't always, like, if you Archangel Rapture because your whole team's going down, you need to pick them up. Um, Sometimes they don't get fully absorbed, right? Or they do, but not quick enough and often enough. And so my choice of this branch is Mindbender. It just makes your Shadow Fiend a minute long cooldown, so it's a lot of damage. Gets your mana back. Also helps with healing because of Atonement. And then we have the third row. We have this again in Legion, which I like. I think it's a good row. If you take Psychic Voice, it's reduced by 30 seconds, which is great, depending on the comp you're playing with. If you're trying to play more, I mean, you kind of can't really, you can, but it's less conducive to the disc play style that they want, where you're pumping out this damage. Because in the current state, I'm doing easily as much damage as a DPS. A lot of games I'm out damaging my DPS, whatever. I mean, except for rogues. Okay, hello. But for the most part, I'm either near or out damaging them. Dominant mind maybe like it would be good, but you can't use it on a player, so nice. Shining Force, good if you're playing a Z-axis map and you gotta knock and you're knocking DPS. It's good. Sins of the Many. All right, so your damage is increased by up to 12%, which initially sounds great. And then you have diminishing for each. It's diminished for each ally that's affected by it, by your atonement, that is. And that's where it becomes kind of dicey because it doesn't say exactly how much it diminishes. So that's a little bit difficult. And then Contrition, when you heal with Penance, keep that in mind. When you heal with Penance, everyone with your Atonement is healed for 265. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind here is when you heal with Penance, 90% of the time, if you can, you're wanting to use Penance as a damaging spell. So not only does that heal through atonement, but you're also doing damage. You're kind of embracing that decreased lifestyle, that gameplay, that different healer gameplay that you're looking for. So Contrition, it's okay. Shadow Covenant, I've heard a lot about it. I haven't experimented with it too much. From what I've experimented with it, it's good. It's pretty good. It just I'm not the biggest fan of the playstyle. Maybe that'll change. Maybe things will make it better. But for the time being, I like to do Sins of the Many at least in twos. Threes, Shadow Covenant might be a thing. Contrition, maybe. It's probably very comp specific. We're gonna have to just feel it out a little bit and kind of go from there, right? And then Purge the Wicked Divine Star Halo. We've had this before, and without a doubt, Purge the Wicked. Divine Star, niche spell, kind of can just break CC. It can kind of, mess up things you're actually trying to do. And it doesn't heal for enough or do enough damage. Halo, same thing. Awkward, 40-second cooldown. This is a 15-second cooldown, 40-second cooldown, and it breaks CC. No thanks. Lenience, I like this. Atonement reduces damage taken by 3%. Kind of a random number, right? 3%. It's like, I don't know how I feel about that. But it's good, right? 3% baseline on everyone, essentially, right? Because you're going to have Atonement applied to everyone as you're DPSing to heal your whole party. That's the whole idea. So you want to have Atonement up. That's basically key number one. Luminous Barrier, I actually do like. So if you're popping something like our well, that was odd. So my mic just cut out for no reason. Sorry about that. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, Lenience. I really like. It's a 3% damage reduction taken by. It reduces damage taken by 3%. By your whole team because you have Atonement on everyone. You have Atonement rolling on everyone. Luminous Barrier, however, I really do like. I think there's definitely situations in which you can use it if you're going to go for an Archangel Luminous Barrier, or you're feeling, like real crazy and I don't know. There's a couple of niche things you can use it for. Like if everyone's super low and you're like, oh god, I need to catch up. It's a nice thing to pair with that powered radiance if you're spec'd into it. So you can Luminous Barrier, radiance, boom, everyone's top. Evangelism extends the duration of Atonement. You can already spam it. Doesn't really make sense to me. It's a 1.3 minute cooldown too. That's probably the most random thing I've ever seen. Luminous Barrier good also because it goes through smoke bomb. So your party gets smoke. Someone in your party gets smoke bombed. You're like, oh shit, you're in trouble. Luminous Barrier. However, along the same lines, you do have barriers, so you can drop a barrier on top of a smoke bomb if you so please, and a lot of the time that's going to be the move. That's going to be when you're either putting CC and they're going for a kill with smoke bomb, and you pop that 60% damage reduction down prior to that damage hitting, and as it hits, it's reduced by a ton. But Luminous Barrier, it's also very good. You can when against dot cleaves and things like that, when it's like barriers essentially null and void, is because you're running around, they're attacking everyone in different positions, everyone's burning down. Everyone can't stand in a little circle for how long is this for 10 seconds now. Actually, it's reduced, so 10 seconds. um and then as far as your PvP talents, as I'm undead, I like to go with the trinket, because then you have the Will of the Forsaken. I would argue that undead priest is the best spec for priest, in my opinion. Adaptation, maybe against some teams, maybe against like some hunter jungle team. I don't know. I kind of like Will of the Forsaken, especially if you're playing with a class like a warlock who can dispel it from you, a rep pally who can help you out of fear. Like it depends, right? Out of stuns, out of fears, out of all types of stuff. So if you're playing with a rep pally, maybe mix it up. But that's as far as those three talents go. And then here, I arguably think that, and I mean, a lot of classes are facing this dilemma right now, is a lot of the spells that they're putting in the PvP talents are either spells you had baseline, um, spells that you could have had stacked. For example, you could have had Archangel and Premonition and Searing. Searing, no, you couldn't have it with that. So you could have Ultimate Radiance, Archangel, Premonition, or Strength of Soul, Archangel, Premonition, like things like that. And there's Purification, which was baseline. Uh, there are just a lot of things there, that you could have had both or all three or multiples of, that now you're kind of forced to choose between. And right now, so Purification, you're facing dot cleaves, you need a lot of dispels. It's good to have that, but at the same time, is it worth it just for that second charge? In my opinion, right now, no. Strength of Soul, it's good against melee cleaves, obviously 15% reduced damage permanently. If you pair that with Lenience, that's 18% reduced damage permanently, essentially, if you keep shields up on everyone. Ultimate Radiance, I'm not going to lie, it's unreal. Especially with mana not being an issue right now in BFA. Ultimate Radiance, it just tops your whole party. Like, if you're ever in trouble, if someone's about to die, pop that Ultimate Radiance or double pop that Ultimate Radiance. Everyone's topped. Bingo. Voila. Everyone's good. Dome Light, I don't see a situation where other options aren't going to be better. If you want to use it, you can. I don't recommend it. But yeah, Archangel, pretty much necessary. 30% increased healing and absorption on a 1 minute cooldown is hard to argue with. Premonition, if you're facing something like a mage, 100% take it. You can death hexes, you can death fears, you can death polys, you can death all types of things that you wouldn't expect. You can death rings, so you can pop. When I say death, I'm referring to premonition. It used to be called Shadow Word Death, or the the mechanic was built into Shadow Word Death actually. So um, you can death and then run into the ring and then get that ring DR on you, and then the premonition will pop and it'll break the CC. You can death blind, which is insane. I've done that a couple times, more than a lot of times, especially when you can kind of see that rogue telegraphing for it. You see him like break off of your DPS and kind of waddle towards you. You're like, okay, a blind's coming for sure, like obviously. Searing Light, it's going to be rough to take that. It's more damage, but it's going to be rough to take that. I don't know. Trinity, I love Trinity. Not only do you not have to apply Atonement with just Plea, which felt really weird and useless. I don't know. I didn't like the whole like having to plea every target. I just like that now Trinity works with anyone who has your Atonement, ergo anyone who has your shield on them or did have their shield on them, they have that Atonement stacked on them. Then your damage, which is going to be your primary healing, especially for spread pressure. You know, you want to be doing as much damage as you can, right? Like when you start playing super defensive as a disc, that like yeah, I mean, there are times when you have to, of course, but you know, with strong openers, for example, with RMP, you know, you got that Trinity going, you pop that Dark Archangel, everyone's doing 15% more damage, boom, just it. Your openers can be crazy. So big burst comps, Dark Archangel. Sorry, we're focusing on Trinity right now. I know. I really like it because it just means that your damage is healing for more, so then you don't have to swap to those Shadow Mends, which are mana eaters, and to me is kind of like a filler that you don't necessarily want to be using unless you get kicked on your Holy School. And then Dark Archangel. I think the fact that you can have Dark Archangel and Archangel is really, really nice. I think it's very cool that you have the option to benefit your party, you have the option to benefit your healing loads, and then you also have the option of Trinity that I like to choose a lot of the time. So you're like that damage just healing your party for more. I often trade these out for example, like uh, if I'm going against a dot cleave or something like that, I'll go, you know, instead of Dark Archangel, depending on the comp you're playing, I'll pop it with Ultimate Radiance, you know. I can't change right now, I'm not in a rested area, but that being said, you can change it for, you know, if you're going against a mage, Dark Arcane, or you Premonition. Um, if you're going against dot cleaves, you have Ultimate Radiance. If you're going against melee cleaves, you got Strength of Soul. So you can pair maybe Ultimate Radiance with Purification against dot teams. There's a lot of different options that you can take, but I think it's definitely a difficult thing, and a lot of classes are facing this. Like Holy Paladins, I know for sure. Warriors have a great toolkit, but nonetheless, it still makes it difficult. But I like that fact of, you know, it's not the easiest choice. That you actually have to care about your choices. You're actually putting thought into your choices, and each and every game, you're gonna adjust those to fit the comp that you're facing. You know, I think it allows for a lot of customizability. I think allows for a higher um, ceiling for skill cap. I just think there's a lot of variability, and it's great variability. You know, it diversifies the class, it diversifies the spec, it kind of really adheres to that discipline priest. Um, Disciplining your enemies, which in turn heals your party members through damage you're doing. I love the playstyle. And I'm going to be maining this as well as my warrior to start BFA. No doubt. I've been a warrior main for however long, and I've also played priest for a very long time. And I just, when I saw the new. Hello? I don't know why it keeps cutting off. That's really annoying me. Um, but, you know, I just love Disc, and I love the play style, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. Um, we don't seem to be affected too much by global, but one thing I would recommend for all you guys. So actually, let me go over the new things we got. So first off, Desperate Prayer increases your health by 25% for 10 seconds and instantly heals you for that amount. So essentially, you're healing for 25% of your health. Is pretty good. But in arena, in actual combat, it doesn't feel like that much. Holy Nova, um, it's cool if you're going up against a Demonology Warlock and they've got a billion pets out and you Holy Nova that. That's a lot of healing for everyone. Um, so I like to, and the animation. Check this out. Like, how freaking cool does it get? That is an awesome animation right there. And then let's see what else is new. Powered Fortitude. It's cool to have it back, right? You know, like it's that, you know, epitomic uh, kind of staple of a priest, right? You know, they should have Powered Fortitude. You know, and then other than that, not many things have changed. Focus will, power the dark side, so purge the wicked as a chance to empower your next penance, making it 15% more effective, whether it's damaging or healing. That's awesome. So I really, really like that. So you're looking out for those procs. Like make sure when you're looking out, like when you're in your gameplay, you may not be like really thinking, oh, this next penance is going to be a big one. But if you can incorporate that and you can kind of teach yourself in your head like to look out for that, you can pair that with something super strong. So Dark Archangel, Power the Dark Side, Penance, huge damage, huge, absolutely massive damage. And so that's talents, that's new spells, and then a couple of the macros I think are very important are, let's see here. So I have focus 1, 2, 3 for arena enemies. So focus uh, arena 1, focus arena 2, focus arena 3, and then I have obviously my focus party macros. So uh, or target party macros, and I also have target enemy frames as well as the focus. But I think so. I have cleanse, obviously. I have death, and this is a very important one. Shadow Word Death, you wanna, or Premonition. Sorry, I keep mixing it up. But what you're actually gonna want to do is build in a stop casting macro, because with the new global cooldown, it can be kind of tricky. But for example, oh, I can't do it now because I'm not in. Yeah, okay, well that's not gonna work because I'm not spec'd into it. I'm not in combat. But so you'll be casting, and like in the middle of your cast, if you hit that macro, look, I hit that macro, it stops your casting. This hand's not even there. It stops casting still. Maybe it's not casting death right now, but it is casting. So if I were in PvP, it would be hitting. It would be stopping that cast and hitting that death. Furthermore, you should definitely, if you can, and you're used to it, and you feel you are you're an avid gamer, you're an avid priest player, you can take it to that next level. Have cleanse macros for party 1, 2, 3. That's big. That's big. Um, Mind control is huge. If you're not using that, start using it a lot more. Learn when to use it. It's very powerful, especially on like Blade's Edge. You can just mind control someone off, and that just takes. That's essentially CCing someone for however long. You're bringing them under the map, um, and then let's see. Is there anything else I really wanted to cover? I'm sorry about the mic cutting out a couple times now. I think my mic just might be low, or it might be dying. I mean, mind vision. I guess that's cool. I'm not really. I haven't experimented enough with it to know when it might be best. I'm not sure it's going to be used much. Maybe it is. Um, Everything else should be pretty self-explanatory. Uh, Melee attacks give you reduced damage, so that's actually really, really good. Just by the way, so you can pair that with Masochism and your Strength of Soul, and you're taking a lot of reduced damage. So that's 10% plus the 15% plus the 15% stacking up to 2 times, so 30%. So you're essentially taking like half the damage you would normally be taking completely. Um, and it's insane. I think that's very good design as far as keeping the priest protected from like the melee zergs, which people just love to do. You have like TSG or like The Walking Dead just running at you mindlessly, and you're like, okay, I'm getting trained to the floor every game. What can I do? That's what you can do. You can spec into, instead of all this offensive pressure, you can spec into Strength of Soul, Ultimate Radiance. So there you go. You've got an Archangel. You've got massive heals on with no cast time that'll top your whole party. You've got shields that are reducing that physical damage from everyone, and then you've got that reduced physical damage to yourself. Well, actually, all damage to yourself, uh, but it stacks from melee attacks, so more effective against melee. Your atonement, obviously, I mean, if you're playing disc, but I'll go over it for people who don't. You apply it to your friendly targets, and 60% of the damage you do is counted as healing to your party. So I mean, in the gameplay, I'm releasing another video kind of pairing up with this. So I'm going to take these ideas and actually put them into actual practice and into games for you guys to see. Um, but I think I covered everything I want to in this video so far as the disc priest goes. I think they're going to be very, very good. I think their offensive pressure is unparalleled by far. Maybe that's going to receive somewhat of a nerf. Hopefully not, for you disc priests out there. Hopefully not, and hopefully you retain that master of damage as far as healer goes. But it's a very fun playstyle. Not a lot of people are familiar with it, so finding a good disc is really really a challenge sometimes. But when you do, it's a diamond in the rough. You wanna it's noticeable as well. You're gonna find that disc who is just above and beyond the others you've played with, and that's great. And I hope that happens to you guys. Hopefully we run into each other and we play some games. But I think that's gonna conclude the disc video for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna have much more content coming soon, and we'll see you next time. Peace.